So today I want to clear up perhaps a misconception that you might have about getting started into the licensing business. We had a syndicate member who's been going crazy. I mean, he's cranked out, I think, like 50 tracks in the last couple of months. So he's been going nuts and just completely head to the grindstone, just cranking out tons and tons of music at a pace that even today I don't even do. So this student is going crazy. It's awesome to see his enthusiasm. But he had a question about what now? Like, how long should I be waiting until I start seeing some placement notifications, and when do I know if this is a great library to keep working with? He's obviously just feeling a little bit of that, like, all right, I'm sinking in now. I'm kind of committing to this thing. Where do I see the payoff? When do I see the payoff? How soon is this going to be coming? And how do I know when I'm sort of wasting my time with this library and I should jump ship and find somebody else to work with? And I responded to him, and as I was responding, I realized, this is a really, really big issue for a lot of producers who hear about music licensing, get excited, see sort of the writing on the wall that this is a really awesome way to make your living from making music, right? Which doesn't involve you having to worry about gathering a whole bunch of fans and building up a social media presence and kind of trying to sort of shout through all the noise of the internet. You can actually just go directly to companies that want to essentially help put money in your pocket for supplying them with licensable music. But the big misconception is, I think a lot of us producers, I know that I certainly had this misconception when I first got started, was, all right, I'm going to be different from all the other producers. So all the other producers, they're cranking out one track a month, a couple of tracks a month. It's going to take them forever to get to the point where this is full time. But I'm the smart one, so I'm going to crank out whatever, 24 tracks in a month or more or whatever. I'm going to go nuts and just crank out tons and tons of music, build up my catalog super fast. And that way I'll get to full-time income faster. Right? I'll just get more and more placements, and I'll get those royalty checks much faster so I can quit my job and do this full time. So there's partly some truth to that, but there's also a big part of that that's really not correct at all, okay? It doesn't matter if let's say in your first year in this business, you crank out 100 songs, okay? Like, you're going nuts. Every week you got, at least, let's say, 2 tracks that you get out there, and eventually those get, licensed or distributed rather with a catalog. Just because you have 100 tracks doesn't mean that any part of the process of you getting paid through the PROs, through BMI and ASCAP, gets sped up. Like, they don't look at your catalog and go, oh, well, this member is a VIP member. They have 100 tracks. Let's get them their money faster. Like, that's not how the industry works. The industry works at a very slow snail's pace, no matter if you have 1 song getting a placement or 100 songs getting a placement, okay? So it doesn't speed up the process of you receiving the royalties. That's not what happens when you crank out a lot of music in your first couple of years in this business. What it does do for you, though, and why I still think it's the right way to go, is to build up a large catalog as soon as possible of high quality licensable music, is when you finally get those first couple of royalty checks. And for me, it took about 1.5 years before I started seeing any royalties, and they were not large royalties that I got. Granted, I was not making very licensable music in the beginning, and that's why I put my Master Course Syndicate, my YouTube video here channel together to help you make sure that you're making licensable music from day one. Okay, so you're not spending the first couple of years sort of stabbing in the dark and seeing what's going to work and what's not going to work. You have somebody, me, telling you what works and what doesn't work from day one, so you don't have to spend a lot of time wasting effort on producing tracks that just sit on the shelf. Okay, it's a big demoralizer when that happens. Trust me, it made me almost want to quit. But when you have a larger catalog and you finally get those royalties, you're going to have a much wider net, right? So you're going fishing right now for those placements and for those royalties. If you only put out 5 tracks in a year, you've only got 5 little poles out there. And so, yeah, maybe you'll catch one. That'll be great. Maybe you won't, right? That was another thing I told one of the other members. He was saying that he has 5 tracks that he's gotten, or maybe 10 tracks or something, in the first 6 months, 8 months of him being in the business. And I told him, listen, I have probably around 1,000 tracks, maybe more than that. I mean, I have a lot of alt mixes and all that kind of stuff. If you look at my BMI catalog, I have over 3,000 songs registered to me. I don't remember most of them, honestly. I've created so much music in my career that I frankly don't even remember a lot of it. But I can definitely tell you, I've had way more than 10 tracks that have never gotten me any placements at all, right? That means out of all maybe the 1,000 or so tracks that I've actually composed, more than 10 of them have been sitting on a shelf somewhere and not gotten me any placements at all. Maybe just some of the earlier ones that I did that weren't right, maybe just wrong place at the wrong time, maybe not yet. You never know, right? But it's just a numbers game. And at some point, you're going to have tracks that just don't get any placements at all. It's just welcome to the world. That's just how life is, right? There's no guarantees that just because you have a song in a library, it gets a placement. It then has to pass the next filter, which is the client has to select your track and say, this is perfect. We want to throw it into our TV show, movie, or commercial, right? But if you only have 5 or 10 tracks that are in a library potentially being shopped to opportunities, chances are pretty low you're going to be even getting a placement, okay? That's why the numbers game is sort of essential. That's just step one. But that doesn't mean that you're automatically successful just having a lot of numbers, right? Because you can have a lot of numbers and then after a year, you're like, well, I didn't get any royalties, so I'm out. And then you just walk away. That part one is having that consistent work productivity schedule, so you're just cranking out a lot. Part two, and this is where I was telling this member, this is your test, right? This period of time when you're sort of by faith walking forward and just believing that this is going to work out for you. It does require faith. There's just no way around it because you're not seeing immediate results like you would if you go get a job. You get a paycheck in 2 weeks or at the end of the month and like, okay, it's working. I'm showing up at this business. They're giving me money. You can see the evidence in front of you that this is actually it's working immediately in front of you. Licensing is sort of a faith thing, right? You don't see the results right off the bat. You don't see the royalties right off the bat. You don't even know most of your placements until you get your royalty check. I'm telling you, about maybe 5% of my placements I get advanced notices of, where I get a library that says, hey Jesse, we just found out your track's going to be in this TV show or this commercial or this promo. Congrats. Those are awesome when you get those notifications. It's the real morale booster, but 95% of the time, I don't know what my music is doing until I get my royalty check and I'm like, oh, it was on that show and this show and that show. Sometimes you can obviously go on your catalog to see if there's any cue sheets that are being registered with your music, and you can kind of get a little advance notice that way. But most of the time, it's a surprise until you get your royalty statement. That's really when you find out how well you did in the the previous year when they reported it. So again, I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of that I know that you get excited and the enthusiasm is there, and I want to obviously share the enthusiasm and the excitement about this business because I'm so glad that I was at least exposed to it when I was exposed to it, because I think if I hadn't, I would not be doing music right now for a living. I can guarantee you that. I don't know what I would be doing, but it certainly wouldn't be making music for a living. So I'm just, again, I always pray to the gods. Thank you for this industry. Thank you for this opportunity. It's just an amazing thing to be a part of. And I know that you get excited and you want to be a part of it too. But once you go and get excited and crank out your first, your year or so of just tons and tons and tons of tracks, just be aware you're going to hit that moment of doubt. You're not going to be sure if it's going to work out, but know that is the test that all producers have to go through. You don't get to just jump through that, okay? I'm here to provide a hand-holding essentially and to mentor you through that and to encourage you through that and to give you living proof of myself that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It can absolutely be done. I got through it. I know many other producers that have gotten through it, but it's not easy. If this was easy, everybody would be doing it and there would be no more opportunity, okay? So the other way you can look at it is the fact that it is difficult. You should feel really good about that, because if you have the strength to get through it, if you have the determination and the motivation to get through this moment of doubt, you can get to be one of the few that actually succeed at this, right? And there's very few that go through and eventually succeed for the long run. Part-time income, a lot of people can do that. That's not so hard to do because you can make music on your off time when you're just kind of, and if that's your goal, awesome. Get some, chump change. Maybe it could be your vacation funds, right? So if you can make a couple of grand in a year from some part-time music that you're throwing out there to a library, what's wrong with that? Nothing. You still get to do what you love. You make some money. You can take a vacation once in a while with your royalties. It's very rewarding. Okay. So I'm not knocking a sort of a minimal part-time approach, but I know most of you that are following this channel, interested in this is your career. This is your passion. This is what you want to do every single day of your life. And very few are able to do that because of this first couple of years in this business where you don't see the immediate results. because we are such, our minds, because of technology, unfortunately, are such, we're so programmed to want something instantly. Like, we like to like something and get comments right away, and we want to see an instant reply. That's where our brains are right now. So if you make a track and a year goes by and you don't see anything happen from it, man, that really messes with your head and your confidence a lot, because everything else in life works a lot faster than that, right? This is the one thing in your life that's going to take some persistence and patience and time. So that's why having a really supportive group of people around you is really, really important, because honestly, if you have people around you in your life that are doubting you and saying, yeah, see, I told you, you've been doing this for a year and you haven't made any money. What are you doing wasting your time? That's going to get into your conscious and your subconscious mind. There's just no way that that's not going to. So you have to surround yourself with people that, have succeeded, that can encourage you when you're feeling down, that can help you feel that spark again to get you through it, because there's just no way to get through it other than going through it. There's no shortcut around it. There's no jumping over the the abyss here, or the bridge, to try to get to that point where you're just like, oh, now I'm comfortable and I'm good to go. You just have to push through it. You have to earn, essentially, your place in this industry. Nothing's handed out here. Okay, there are no handouts. I did not get a handout. I got opportunities. Don't get me wrong. I was handed opportunities, and if I didn't deliver on those opportunities, I would have been left on the side of the road, and somebody else would have taken my place. Okay, so you have to capitalize on opportunities that you get, and you have to deliver and over deliver. So it is up to you. But it is possible. All right. So I just want to keep it real with you guys. Not easy, but possible. If you found this useful, motivational, please leave a like. Please subscribe if you have not. I'm putting out videos twice a week, pretty much every Monday and Wednesday. You guys have probably noticed the schedule now, where I put out like useful, informational, motivational videos like this. And I got a lot of cool stuff planned coming in the next couple of weeks. So make sure you don't miss out on any of it.